Welcome to a place where nothing is as it seems, where motives become transparent as glass and truth can be taken at face value, no matter how ugly it may be. Step inside and have a seat at the table where alliances are currency and no one has a name. Welcome to a dimly lit, smoke-filled room.
Hello there, my darlings, and welcome to the first episode of what will hopefully be a long-standing relationship between you, the listener, and I, the weird guy with too much free time. Welcome to a dimly lit smoke-filled room, aka my office, aka my laundry room, which smells like cigarettes and lonely, as any good laundry room should. What I wish to do with this platform is to use it to bring to light mysteries and conspiracies which I find interesting. There are too many mysteries to cover, and many which have been done to death, so I'm not necessarily taking lizard people and chemtrails off the table, but I wouldn't count on it either. What I wish to do here is to take lesser-known cases, which have received less coverage than I believe is fair, and also take some of the big names, like the Somerton Man or the lead mask case, and highlight some of the harder-to-find details which rarely make the listicles in YouTube top 10s. Also, within these dark transmissions from this even darker room on the corner of danger and despair, you will inevitably find yourself asking, why all the dick jokes? That is because I am a man-child, and humor is in my nature. I plan on having a couple segments on this show, in addition to the main story, but for now we're going to keep it short and sweet until I've banged out the details, because one thing you won't find on this show is banging, or a tedious amount of preparation. So without further ado, let's get into our first case. On the night of December 29th, 1999, in Veneta, Oklahoma, Ashley Freeman was celebrating her 16th birthday at her mobile home with her parents Danny and Kathy Freeman. Also present was Ashley's best friend Lauria Bible and Ashley's boyfriend Jeremy Hurst, who left around 9 p.m. because you know how dangerous teen boys can be after dark. Not much is known about the events which took place in the mobile home during that night. Mountain Dew was likely involved, and absolutely no boys. No, he can't stay the night, Ashley. You're 16, not 21. What would Jesus think about that? What is known, however, is that at about 5:30 a.m., a 911 call was placed by the neighbors warning authorities of a fire at the Freeman's address. When the fire department arrived, the mobile home was an absolute inferno. Once the flames were finally extinguished, investigators dug through the charred wreckage, finding one body burned beyond recognition, which was eventually discovered to be Kathy Freeman. But Lauria, Ashley, and her father Danny were nowhere to be found, despite their vehicles remaining at the scene. The initial working theory was that Danny had killed his wife and abducted the girls, setting fire to the mobile home to either try to cover his tracks or buy time while he fled. However, Lauria Bible's parents visited the crime scene soon after and discovered an additional body, which was eventually determined to be Danny Freeman. Yet, the girls were still nowhere to be found. The final ruling of the Craig County Sheriff's Department was that both Danny and Kathy's deaths were due to close-range shotgun blasts to the head, and that the fire was started deliberately. This information changed the story entirely. Authorities speculated that Ashley may have possibly murdered her parents and ran away with Lauria, as there had been tensions between Ashley and her father, but I mean, she's a fucking teenage girl. As anyone who's been through that hormone-fueled nightmare knows, that is par for the course. In the days following the investigation, many theories on what may have actually went down were brought to light by locals. Some believe that Danny was a small-time drug trafficker, and the execution-style killings were performed by some goon over a missing brick of jazz cabinet. However, the idea of Danny being involved in drug operations may be unlikely due to the fact that he was mounting a wrongful death case over the killing of his son Shane earlier that year. In fact, the Freemans had been involved in a year-long feud with the Craig County Sheriff's Department, threatening to file a wrongful death lawsuit in hopes of overturning a judge's original ruling that Shane's killing was justified. Shane Freeman had been shot and killed on January 18, 1999 after stealing a truck from McAllister, Oklahoma. He was thought to be armed, and when a deputy found Shane and the stalled truck on the side of the road, the deputy alleged that Shane pointed a handgun at him, which caused him to open fire, killing him. While friends and family believed that Shane was the type of person to run rather than to confront, a judge ultimately decided that the autopsy report matched up with the deputy's testimony, and that the deputy was in fact acting in self-defense. In another twist, after a month-long Freedom of Information struggle, the Sheriff's Department concluded that some of the evidence from the case could not be located. I mean, really guys? What is going on with this stereotypical small-town crooked cops shit? What happened to honesty, justice, and the adorable little backwoods Andy Griffith types I remember seeing on Nick at Night. Danny Freeman's brother, Dwayne Vansell, was convinced that the Craig County Sheriff's Department was somehow involved in the murders of Danny and Kathy Freeman. After speaking on what he believed to be the unlawful killing of his nephew, and let's not forget the fact that Danny literally told Dwayne, "If anything happens to me, look at the Sheriff's Department," in a very serious manner. Danny seemed to believe that his threatening of a lawsuit against the county was causing local authorities to act hostile towards him and his family, in typical suspense film fashion. Following the case, Lauria Bible's parents continued to look into, this or that. People who call in admitting to the murders saying, "Hey, go look in this such and such abandoned well off of this shady looking property, and I killed the girls and took them to Kentucky to dump the bodies." Things of that nature, which is typical in a murder case that goes unsolved because for some reason it manages to get the person confessing better food and extra phone privileges in jail. Not sure how that works, but we'll keep it in mind. So what do you believe happened? What do you think? My theory is that Danny Freeman, in fact, did probably have some kind of connections to a drug trafficking operation, even if it was a very, very small time, like, hey, here's an ounce, flip it and off it. Because if I know anything about Oklahoma, it can be a sketchy place. I lived there when I was younger, and obviously when you're 3 or 4 years old, you don't notice things like that. I mean, when I got mugged personally, my youngest daughter was standing right next to me and had no idea what had happened until I told her afterwards. But going back at a later age, I could clearly see that the place in which I'd grown up was crime-ridden, run down, and just overall pretty fucking scared looking. So do I think it's far-fetched that Danny Freeman may have had some kind of involvement with selling drugs on the side? Nope, I don't think that's far-fetched at all. Do I think it's far-fetched that the Craig County Sheriff's Department may have been flexing on the family a little bit to try and get them to throw the case away? No, I don't find that far-fetched either. I just think that it is more likely that some drugs were lost and somebody got a little upset, possibly, maybe overreacting just a little bit. And while Lauria Bible's parents continue to hope that the girls are still alive, I find that also, fairly unlikely. I mean, it's been, almost 20 years? They'd be fully grown adults by now, and I don't think a lot of people really necessarily know or remember this case on a national level, and the people that committed the crimes in the first place, probably long gone. I mean, your drug dealer types, more than likely dead by now. However, on the other theory, if Lauria and Ashley did have something to do with it, that would account for them not showing back up after any amount of time due to the fact that the crime was unsolved and many people thought that they could be involved in it. But I don't really think that that's true necessarily. I mean, people said that Danny and Ashley, father and daughter, had some tensions and didn't get along very well. But like I said before, that's kind of just a teenage girl thing. I mean, if you actually at that age are on real good terms with your daughter and y'all don't get into some kind of a blowout every couple days, then I think you're doing exceptional. But I think for the rest of us, that's kind of a little bit normal. I mean, hormones are flowing, juices are going, and all that shit. So that's what I think. What do you think? Who gives a fuck? I'm just kidding. If you have any ideas or any more information that I can go back and maybe create an addendum on the next episode, if there is a next episode, this might just fail horribly and nobody will give a fuck. But let us know in the comments or send us an email. And I will tell you where you can do that in a moment. Anyways, this has been the first very short episode. Thank you so much for listening. It took a while to compile all this information, and I originally said I was going to release it on Monday, and now here it is like Thursday. But thank you guys for bearing with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and do all those things. And check out our other shows on the No Such Radio Network. That is Too Damn Early, where I basically get up out of bed in the AM and start talking before my brain is fully active and able to form coherent sentences. Talk More Better, which is a podcast about language and words, where they come from, where they're going, worldwide idioms, things like that. And last but not least, you can check out just No Such Radio, which is basically where I do all my updates, subscriber shout outs, answering the comments and stuff like that. Non-specific comments, of course. And you can check out all three of those on SoundCloud or check them out on YouTube, where we occasionally do videos, and there's a video update every Friday so you can see my handsome face smiling back at you from the darkness. Just kidding. Don't forget, you can Twitter us at nosuch_radio and email us at nsrpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to our first episode. Please tell me what you think, and we will see ya next time. Bye.